This is the Outliers Edge podcast, where we champion the leaders who are shaping the next era of humanity by taking them to the edge of their comfort zone so that they can lead us to the edge of what's next. I'm your host, Niiamah Ashong. Let's do this. Hey there, Niiamah Ashong here, founder of Outliers Edge, where we champion the leaders who are shaping the next era of humanity. I love that I come into here with a smile on my face. Now, this smile is actually it's not manufactured. It's not just like plastered on. It's the actual genuine feeling of joy, because today I have an amazing outlier who I'll tell you more about her in just a bit, but like an amazing outlier that's with me right here. Today I'm speaking with Amicie. Amicie, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I realized I didn't ask beforehand. So like, how do I pronounce your full name?
De Quatrebarbes.
De Quatrebarbes.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, yeah. So I'll call you Amicie in this conversation.
Sure.
But I want to make sure that we get the fullness of you in here, and that starts with your full name, right?
Yes. Sorry about it. It's a bit complicated.
No, you don't need to apologize in my world. You don't need to apologize at all. Own that. I'm like, oh, I just have to work on it. That was on me. Like, I could have asked you at any point over and over again. Like, I could have worked on this. I didn't, so you don't have to apologize. That's on me. That's on me. Well, Amicie, it's really great to be in space with you. I'm really glad to spend time with you here, and also to introduce you to just to my world, right? We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna have like our conversations the way that we have it, right? And I get excited for where that goes. I gotta let you know why I'm so excited to talk to you specifically. You see, when I think about you, you are someone in my world who actually really embodies what it means to be an outlier, right? In addition to like the type of work that you've done and the places that you've lived and the way that you've done things there, and the way that you think about things, I will never forget when I met you, and like the subject matter that like you cared about, like you're like, I just really care about crap. Like, there's things about like that we can do with that, and like that I just think are just so amazing. And I've never heard someone talk about a topic that, like, I had never heard anyone talk about that topic with like so much passion, so much understanding, so much like possibility for what could be created and how it could be turned into things, both in terms of and doing it in a way that was still so grounded for the farmers, for the people that you wanted to support. And that was something that went in my mind, where I was like, this person's really special. This person's really special because like it's in addition to everything else that everyone else would bring to the table, she's just interested in something that is like interesting, and has committed herself to that there. People don't often do that. People don't often people find more of the things that are in the norm, in the mainstream, and choose to do that. But you were like, you just knew what you were about. And when you said it to me, I was like, this person is special. And it's from that core that has continued to grow. And every time I see you, that's one thing. I know you work on different projects. I know there's different things that are happening with you. You're always expanding and changing. But like, there's something about you and the way that you choose to live life so fully and earnestly in the path that is your path that like always impresses me and makes me just like so happy to be in space with you. I'm very, very glad to be in conversation with you.
Thank you very much, Nemo, for that introduction. Yeah, that reminds me of the first project actually we discussed about was the sheet project.
Yes.
I remember that. I forgot about this one. Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
Really. So I remember contacting you at the beginning, being a bit all lost in anything really. Like, I've been living in different countries, and I was more going with the flow and not really leading my life. It was more following the opportunities that were given to me without making too much efforts. And sometimes, because I didn't put the efforts, it was not very satisfying. So at some point I decided to take things in my hands and like try to, okay, like ask myself the right questions and have someone to guide me with this process. And that's how I got in touch with you and we started doing this together. And I think what I get from the session was more you gave me the permission that you granted me, I don't know, give me the permission is the right term maybe, that to do stuff that I thought would not be accessible to me. Like for example, we try to discover together what subject I would like to work on, and then that it's stuff I had in the back of my mind, but I never really thought I could really act on it because I don't know, I was not in a company for doing it, or I was not in a university, or I was not guided by a professor. It was just me. And how do you contact someone on LinkedIn, or how do you talk to someone in a show, like in a salon? How do you call that? Like those exhibition place? Yeah. How do you approach someone without being an expert? For me, I thought I had to be an expert to be entitled and authorized to ask questions. But then I think you helped me realize that anyone can ask questions. Anyone is allowed to, and you don't need to have any specific status to inquire. And even though it doesn't lead anywhere, you create great conversation and people are always happy to talk to you. Like everybody loves to be listened to. So making people talk, it will be never a waste of their time or never a waste of your time, because while they talk, you learn as well. So I think that's really what I got from it. And then I started it. I started to approach people. I even went to Pune, took the bus to Pune to go to a company making like the methanization system, like taking meeting just for myself, like wanting to know more and asking questions. And I didn't transform anything with it, but I think I still learned a lot from it. And now this is what I've been doing for the past I would say like 2-3 years. I keep doing it now. It's part of my process, like the way I work now, the way I so whether it's on a project where I've changed the subject slightly now, what I'm working on is back to animal health. I left the shit on the side. But
nicely put.
Left the shit behind, but it was yeah. So the idea is carry on this process about approaching people, getting making people talk and getting interesting conversation, and trying to bring value out of it, transform it. So it's a very interesting process, and it's something that I feel very comfortable with, and I think I'm good at it as well. It's so yes, that was the thing I wanted to say.
Well, I'm glad you said it. I had it. Thank you for saying it. On many different regards, it's meaningful for me to hear you like share both about your journey, where you are right now, and also some of like the core elements that like came from our conversations and how you continue to apply it now. One of the things that I've recognized, and it's part of the reason why I'm like I just choose to keep showing up, is that like you never really know what your impact's going to be. You never know where it's like what's gonna land. But as long as you're in the conversation, as long as you've started out something, there's at least an opportunity for something to take place. So I appreciate the reflection back here. That's helpful there. As you were talking, there are some things that were like going on in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh, I'm really curious. Let's go and explore. You mind if I bring some of that into the conversation right now?
Sure.
All right, cool. So you brought in, so there's two things, right? I have to say this because I recognize like how comfortable I am and I know that generally speaking, things have changed for me. So now I go by my name Niiamah, but you knew me when I was Nemo, right? So
Yes.
I just want to like make sure I explicitly say it. Like you can call me Nemo. It is totally good. I've gone through I've gone through my process on this, you know. So I'm like, there was a time where I was like a little wobbly. I was like, oh, if they call me Nemo, would I just go back to it? I'm very good. But your grandfather did, you know. So you knew me, you knew me when. So I wanted to make sure I express that. It's interesting because in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is totally fine for me. And I also pay attention in any conversation. I'm like, oh, how we have the conversation is probably more important than the conversation itself. Meaning, I can't go and be like, you got to stand up for yourself. You got to like let people know who you are. And then like, so I'm not going to say like, I'm going to call you like another name. And I'm not saying anything about it. Right. So I wanted to make sure that like I address that and put out here. I'm like, Nemo is absolutely wonderful here. Like that's our relationship, you know? And that feels really good. And I wanted to make sure I said that so that has been said. That's one. The second thing here is you said something super powerful, just a regular part of your conversation. You said, I realized I wasn't leading my life and I was just going with the flow. And I think that's something like I want to drill down on that because when I spend my days talking to amazing people who have created success in unconventional ways. And the number of people that I talk to who have their version of just going with the flow. And it turns out that the flow is taking them to a corner that they don't really want to be in, you know, like that happens so often. So can you tell me a little bit about like that experience of like, we're going to talk about the transition into leading your life, but tell me a little bit about like, where had the flow taken you like in life? Like tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the flow takes you, and you still need a balance for. So for me, I have a threshold, I would say. So I had the company was offering me good pay and good benefits, and I was living abroad. So I was my curiosity for traveling and living living the adventure somewhere was like fulfilled, and and like we would compensate what the drawback or the low from going with the flow. So I could have gone like, I think for a long time like this, but at some point when the balance start changing, when like the benefits and the money, it start not to compensate so much, and you start to want things a bit different. And I think also when you are like a freshly grads, you, I people make you understand that you have no experience, or you don't have so much value. But when you start to gain experience, then you start also to get hunted, not hunted, but head hunter start to
Yeah.
get
Following.
interested in you.
Yep. Like you're
and
in demand.
and you start to realize, oh, I think, yeah, I do have value actually. So I'm not the freshman that was out there begging for a job and please hire me, I have no experience, whatever. Now you realize like, okay, I have some kind of value out there, but what do I do with it? Like so yeah, it was a I think it was time. So the last experience, every time I was changing country was amazing because I was discovering something new culture, new people, new adventure. But it was also very, very tiring. I mean, you know that, Nemo, you've traveled to Singapore, you went back to San Diego, a place where you don't know, I think, not many people.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
knew literally 3 people in this
yeah.
things, right? So it's like I came back to the
So
States, but like it was a brand new adventure. This time with a 1-year-old with me. It was like easier
yeah,
to go to
plus
Singapore.
the one
With
year
that.
old.
Yeah. So like
So
like the process of yes, it's new, but every time you're going there, you have to like if you're not coming with any roots, you have to start fresh again. Am I getting that right?
it's so much energy. You have like a tree, you have to build the roots and also the top, like it's double efforts. And uh, and I think I was feeling my energy also getting lower. And of course, every time I was moving to a new country, it was always temporary. At least with that company, they would like the the future was for me to like start over again in another new place. And I was like, do I really want to do that for the fourth time in a new place where I don't know anybody? And my energy was getting a bit low, and the satisfaction I was getting from the job was less and less. And I think that's how I really didn't know how to get out of here, and without also, because the easy stuff would be to actually get out and fall back into the same scheme, but in a different company or in a different. So I just wanted to like understand the trigger first, and like ask myself the right questions to like, if at least if I quit, I wanted to do it properly and to avoid doing the same thing over and over again. So that's how I thought I needed external help.
Yeah, I really want to acknowledge you too, because you saw the loop. This is something that comes up in conversations where I'll talk to amazing people and that have had a lot of success, but at a certain point they're just repeating the same thing over and over again. It's a different country. This like, so let me put in this case. So in your case, right, you talked about it from like a country perspective, right? So it's like, okay, I'm going to a new country, taking on a different role here. But like this, it's the same process. It's like the first 6 months, everything's new, and then it's like, but wait, like I have to go make new friends again. I got to go figure this out. Like it's just simple things like, where do I get the groceries, and like you have to figure out that all over again each time. It's fun, at the same time it's energy inducing. I think about that with people who also have gone to like a lot of different companies, right? Where they'll go in and like I'll see the thing being that like they never really like were honest with themselves about what it is that they really wanted. So almost every single time they would go from one job to the next, maybe someone comes and says, hey, like you'll be great at this, and they get a promotion inside of their job, or someone else sees something, and they're just kind of like, they're starting all over, they're learning something new, but it's never the thing that like actually would drive them and have them like want to go forward. So I really just want to just acknowledge you for like seeing that like just because you're going somewhere new doesn't mean that you're actually having a new experience.
Kind of, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was repeating some old scheme.
It's so interesting too, because like I say it, and it's a part of it, like I know the truth in it based on my own experience as well. But it's like it seems really counterintuitive, right? It's like, how could you be repeating the same thing if you're like going to another country? Like, Niiamah, it doesn't make sense. It can't be the same thing because you're in a whole other country. But I'm thinking right now of someone right now where it's like, yeah, I've worked in Africa, I've worked in India, I worked over here, I worked over here, and I just keep restarting over and over again. I get to a certain place, and then we restart and we do this whole part again until we get here. And I really just I think it's interesting because it could be a very kind of like thrilling trap. Like, not to say you can't keep traveling, can't keep that. It's not that, but it's like the element of restarting could be a really thrilling trap without recognizing it. But you did. I just really want to acknowledge that.
I mean, maybe to some people that they could be fulfilled by it. Like some people need some. For me, I was happy with it at the beginning, but then I realized that it was not somewhere I wanted to on the long term basis. At least
Yeah.
I had to figure out something else. It was
So tell me a little bit here now about like, I just really love the term when you said like leading my life. I thought that was so like, because it wasn't just living your life. I think that's like as we're talking, like, why was that so cool to me? You know? And like I think like, yeah, I think things like most people will come in and be like, it's just time for me to live my life, you know? But like you took it to a level beyond just living your life. It was leading your life. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like that's cool. That's also an opportunity. That's also a way of doing it. So tell me here about like how the leading of your life like really comes into play, and you can talk about it from how it was back then, or you can talk about how it is right now for you. Like I just want to really just spend a little bit of time on this topic.
Yeah. Yeah, actually it's true. It's like, because leading means that it's like when you are in a company, if I can use the metaphor, it's like you have the leader, and then you have the workers that takes the order from the leader, kind of. And it's your life, so you don't want to be the worker that takes the order from the outside, from the company, from like I don't know, your family, your friends, or whatever. You want to be the people on the top that makes the decision. And that, yeah, so I think I have it with this image. And like, it's coming from it is when I was saying, like, I always thought like I had the fraud syndrome, like the imposter syndrome. Is that what you say? Where
Yeah,
you, yeah. So
keep going, but like tell me about your version of it.
where you like, where I was a bit scared to go out there and like ask questions, or meet people or talk to people, just because I didn't feel like, because I was not a leader in my previous company. I was taking orders from above, and I was a kind of a worker. So I never, it was a while since I was not in the position at school. You are in the position of the student, so you take the order from the professor, or at least that's how I felt it. Maybe some people feel it differently, but so for a long time I was always like taking orders and waiting. So even on my life, I was waiting for them to tell me where I should go next. And so then I was like, I remember also, like, from our talks, I was like, I'm born to be a fucking leader. And I'm not leading anything right now. Yay.
I'm dancing like if you just listen to the audio here, like that, like I feel that energy. Yes, indeed. So like, and it's palpable with you. It's palpable with you. So take us here, like, so we're talking a little bit about like how things were in the past. We're gonna go, like, I think today we'll just like go through an entire part of your journey here. Take us to like now, like, all right, you were born to be a fucking leader. Like now, like tell me, how are you leading right now? How are you leading your life right now? Bring us to like present day. However, whatever projects you're taking on, whether it's an external project you're doing or just the way that you live your life, like tell me a little bit about that here. I'm or actually I said the way you live your life, and that's not what it did, the way you lead your life.
Lead your
And
life.
I'm like you just took me up a level, so I'm like, I gotta keep meeting you at that level. So take us a little bit to like to now, like what's happening for you, what excites you, and how are you living your life right now?
It's so it's a process. I wouldn't say like oh yeah, now I'm completely in the leading position, and
Thank you for
bye
that.
bye the old
Thank you for being real about it, right? Because it's like as nice as it sounds, it's not like it's the process in itself. So please
yeah.
continue, but I just want to just like slow down and make sure that we don't like, it's not like, oh, if I'm not doing it, it's like, no, it's sometimes you'll be doing it, sometimes you're not, so on and so forth. And I just really appreciate you making that real.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, so now by working on my project, when I gave myself a year to work on it, I really enjoyed the working part, because I was the one, I was in charge, I was leading. So I would lead also how I would arrange my working days. Like if I feel like I want to work on a Sunday and then not work on Monday, or if I feel I want to work late at night, or like I would organize myself however I want it to be. So that was a good feeling. But it was not all like you lead, but you always like dependent on others as well, like getting meetings or getting people to talk to you was also very hard, because you are kind of a nobody still. So it at the beginning was quite hard to like get. Same again, I was not changing country, I was going back to the country I know, but I was trying to, I've always worked in Asia, so I had no network in France so much, so I had to start all over again, like getting to know people, getting the door to open to me, getting people to see me, accept. So but at least I would kind of do it on my own term. So that was very inspiring in some ways. And yeah, what else? Um, help me out there.
Yeah.
I'm getting lost.
Yeah. I like that. I like this is the thing. This is the like the reality. Like you're just like, yeah, I still need to say now I'm getting lost in it. And I appreciate that like you didn't try and just make something up, you know. You just like you're like, this is what's real, this is what I need to say about it. Like, yeah, like this is exactly right. So that's awesome. Let's leave that where it is here. Like I think where I'd love to bring us to right now is like you're talking about like, okay, let's see, where do I want to go right now? Because I've always been interested in the projects that you take on, right? And if you want to say anything about any project that you're doing right now, you can like just put it here in case someone's like, oh, that's also interesting to me. I'd love to like have a conversation with you on it. So feel free if you want to. This is not like this. The space has way more room, doesn't need it, but it's welcome for you if you like. I want to talk to you. I get really curious about this. You talked about it's not easy, even going back, like going back to France, like you're still like starting things up. You talked about being a nobody, right? You also talked about the imposter syndrome, and then you talked about like early, like I felt like our work together granted me the permission to go out and just go talk to people, right? Can we spend a little bit of time on that portion there of like, yeah, let's go for you.
You remember that my personality is to be a bit skeptical about everything, and you were like giving. So we were always like making fun of each other because
because I'm out here like this could happen, this could happen. You're like, I don't know about that. Yeah, I think like I love seeing like that. Like you said I was granted the permission, you know, and I my language here is like you gave yourself permission. Like that's the thing. I've literally gone and sometimes I've like ridden someone like a hall pass, like in America, like if you want to go out to the bathroom when you're in school, you need like a pass to be able to go out, right? It's like you're allowed to be out here, right? So I've literally like taken a post-it note around me and just like written, I hereby declare that this person can. I had it for someone who wanted to make a podcast. She's like, I really wanted to make a podcast, like other stuff and the other. I was like, what are you waiting for? She's like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I can. I'm like, oh, no worries. I've made many podcasts of hundreds of episodes. Just give me a second here. And I just took a pen and I wrote, I, Niiamah Ashong, hereby declare that this person is able to like create a podcast. Here you go. Like, it's like,
thank you.
Yeah. And it was like it was the silliness of the moment of like, wait a minute, what am I actually waiting for? Like why is that? Why is it that I'm waiting rather than just like making it happen? And it seems that like you grasped and you jumped into that. Is that like all right? There's a couple of different things that I want to do right here. One, I have the sound bowl right here, right? And I would like to just play the sound for like just to like clear the air. And I'm going to ask a question afterwards. Okay.
Okay.
I recently had a conversation with someone who had to be playing in our conversation. And I was like, I don't know how to play. And what are the commitments that I have to myself now is to find some way in every single conversation to like, not just even be more playful, but like to be like productively, powerfully playful. So I'm trying out different things around me to see, hey, like what could spur out as a result of this, you know? So one of the things I am curious for you about like the journey, the transition to, this is what I want to know. Okay. So like, I get it. Like you're out there, you're asking conversations stuff. What was one of the most interesting conversations or one of the scariest conversations that you started up here?
Here. That's a good question. Sometimes if I don't know. Well, you're catching me short.
Yeah.
Anything I can, yeah, like it feels like I think I would be scared before. Like several conversations made me scared in advance. Like I would be scared the day before, 24 hours in advance. But then I don't know. Like once I'm in it, like I'm going there to meet the person. It's like I'm doing the action, And once you are acting, it's like I don't know, the brain is the fear part of my brain is just disconnecting from the rest. So I just go, like, I was not so scared while doing the conversation. I was more scared like before it's, because I made like a couple of yeah, maybe like I made three general manager of like poultry company, and some of them are like pretty big, like doing several billions euro sales. And I think sometimes, yeah, oh, I was like a bit scared in advance. I think I was more scared sending an email than actually going there and talking to them. Because sending the email is like, you never know what the words it's so hard to put the right full meanings in an email because it can be interpreted in so many ways. So I would reread it so many times, and I asked my dad to proofread it, and I asked another friend to proofread it, and it took me like 2 days to send like a 4 lines email to make sure that what I wanted to say was really in it. And then, but at least when I was going out there, you have the person in front of you, and straight away you have like a connection, you have his face, you have his that's why also one of the reasons I don't like phone conversation, because you it's worse than an email. you,
Mm.
you only have the, well, I mean, maybe not, you still have the tone of the voice, but once I connect with the person and I start talking and I start engaging in conversation, I am in my element, and I'm feeling good about it, and it flows. And sometimes it doesn't go where I want it to go, and sometimes it's a bit frustrating, but I never had like a bad experience. So I don't know, like, yeah, it was I was quite lucky for that. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that feels really good when you say like like I was in my element. I'm in my element. Like I felt my whole body relax. Like I just like kind of just like sat back in my chair. And like the element of like what comes to mind is like, oh yeah, she's got this. You know, and the there's an element you said like, oh, I was quite lucky, which is true. Luck comes into play, and I like that like you engineered that luck in a sense, like you put yourself into positions where you would be lucky. And what I'm hearing from you is when you're in a conversation, a face-to-face conversation with someone, you like the probability or the chances of you slipping into your element are so much higher than you trying to like send an email, you know, or you trying to even just talk to them on the phone without that extra bit, right? And so what I'm hearing from you as you're talking here is like you put yourself in the situation and in the environment that best suited how like your talents.
Yeah,
Sometimes everything
exactly.
lined up and it was like great, you know, but it
Yeah.
almost feels like it's like let's increase the probability of something awesome being able to happen by being courageous early and asking for the type of experience that I would like, as opposed to I can easily imagine someone being like, oh, they're so busy. Let me just send them like an email and maybe I can get them to respond back to some questions and that'll be okay. Or maybe we'll just do a voice call because I don't want to make them meet me in person or meet me somewhere else. Like, and but you didn't stop at that. So like, I see you nodding. So tell me a little bit about what's flowing through you as I say that.
No, I think you're right. Like I discovered that I'm thriving in conversation with people. Is where I'm good. So it's also like it's quite hard. Not always easy to discover what things you are good at and what things you are not as good at. And instead of working on the things you are like not that great at, just capitalize on what you're already good at. Like stop trying to uh, always like beat yourself with a stick, and like use the carrot a bit more, because it's I'm listening to a meditation like every day to try to set myself a more positive mindset. But the good attract the good, and the success attract the success, and the failure attract the failure as well. So you want to always keep focusing on what you're good at, what you're successful at, and like try to always go there, and never mind like find another way to deal with the things you are not as good at. So at least that's how I realized this for this year. And now like um I'm shifting to taking another job, so I'm putting my projects like not not as the main picture, but as a secondary picture. Not letting it down, but maybe slowing it down a little bit. But I'm going back. I want to go back to the corporate world because, yeah, money is always a is always an issue, and I shouldn't be ashamed of it. But
no, and yeah, we were talking earlier. I'm like, I really acknowledge you for like making sure that you're taking care of what needs to get taken care of. I was in a conversation the other day with someone who was like, told me about the multiple times that he had gone in and out of like working as an entrepreneur and then working inside a corporate, and this like the various things that he needed to do to be able to actually stay in the game, you know.
yeah.
And not put himself in a position where like his actual livelihood was like at risk here. And so like I said it before, I'll say it right now, like I acknowledge it. I think it's a really powerful like choice to make it. I don't think that these decisions come easy when you've created the space to do things on your own terms. And I also see you making the choice on your term to say, actually, this is like right now what I want to focus on is some more stability from an income revenue perspective. So let me go put that into place here.
Yes,
I really want to
exactly.
acknowledge you on that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So the idea now is like I want to use all those years where I got to know myself better, where I'm good at, and like I know I want to be a leader. So all that is put into my head, and I feel like on my job search, I'm much more, I know what I want. And I remember myself like 2 years ago where I was like, oh, or 3 years ago, I wanted to change, and I was looking at job application, and I was like, everything was boring, and nothing was but now I it's much easier. I'm like, oh, this is I know what role I can do, I know what role I can be good at, and like when I do interview or where I write cover letters, it's very simple because this is I got to know myself much better, so I know my strengths, and I have a much better way of advertising myself, which was not the case before so much. So that's been quite helpful.
Can I ask you here? You can take me up on it or not, but you said like conversation is something that you're really great at. Right now we're in conversation, and it looks like you're looking for where like your next chapter is going to take you here. I want to extend an invitation to you if you'd like to share, like, since you know what it is that you want, like, would you like to share some of like the types of things that you're looking for, or like in the next chapter, next role that you're taking on? Like, I'm happy to leave a little bit of space for that here, just in case someone listens to like, oh, I know a person, or I want to have a conversation with you, or I've lived that life before. I can, like, I don't know. I look at this stuff and I'm just like, I just want to support the people in my world to keep being able to be out there. So it's up to you. Sometimes people are like, no, I'll take care of that on the side. But if you want, the floor is yours to share just a little bit about that. And then we'll start wrapping up the conversation altogether.
All right. So just one thing, like I said earlier, I'm born to be a leader.
Yes.
so no, I'm so position regarding, I would say I want managing projects. I love connecting people. I love introducing people. I am a bit like you, like I said, like I have conversation with people, and sometimes I can't really be useful, or I hear they have a problem, but it's not something I'm willing to tackle right now. But I know, or I've heard someone, or so I'm like, wait, you should contact that person, and I've created that several times as well. So I like to be a role where I connect the dots. And of course, like I'm a vet from training, but from heart as well. And I love production animals, and especially poultry production. So I want to stay in that field. So I am looking for poultry shit.
Yeah. Nicely done. That's nicely
Poultry
done.
shit leader management position role. Okay, now your network is aware.
Yes, right. It's like literally like you're like the manure. Like, what can we do with it, right? So like this is it. This is it. Like, I don't like I've never done something like this before in a conversation, but like this is it goes back to, we're both in our element, you know. and I think the more that we spend time in our element, the more that we allow ourselves to put ourselves in positions where the probability for us to shine lives, the more magic. I'm gonna call it magic because it just doesn't. It just feels less linear, than like the logic. I just feel like it's not logic, it's magic, and magic has its own space here. The more of that can come in. I don't know what might happen. I don't know if anyone's ever going to reach out to you on this. I don't know if you're going to get inundated with a ton of things, and then you realize like, oh, actually, like this happened, or like I met a partner here, and like we became great friends. Like who knows? But like we're creating space and creating opportunities. We're increasing the probability of something positive being able to take place. And I think very highly of you. I think that like it's very awesome to see how you keep positioning yourself to put more of you in the best parts of what you, not even the best part, but like the ways that you love to operate out into the world. I'm talking to you on a podcast here. I'm talking to you on a recorded conversation. Trust me, I've been in situations where I'm like, oh, I think I have to write something and type up a blog on it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm like, because the chances of something magical happening, something better than what I could do on my own, like they diminish to like single digit percentages. And like, I really want to honor and lift up like us putting ourselves in the places where in advantageous positions. My business is called Outliers Edge because I think that outliers have an edge over the competition, the edge over everyone else, an edge over like they have an advantage, and I see that you are using your advantage. And with that, I want to meet you in as many ways that I can. So let's end the conversation in this way. Firstly, if someone wants to reach out to you, if they want to continue the conversation, if they get curious or they're like, hey, I'd love for you, like whatever it is, how can they best do that?
Oh yeah, I am on LinkedIn, so I'm quite active on LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn profile is Amicie de Quatrebarbes, but maybe you can put a link in the bio because I don't know whether anyone can actually type that right.
Yeah. So like, we'll look at this. Like your name will be in the description, the podcast name of this year. Because sometimes I don't do too much with podcast notes. I just never use them myself. But like the name will be there. And you're saying go to LinkedIn and find you on it.
Yes, and they have to choose the one with the chicken picture. So there is two of us, and I am the one with the chicken.
All right.
In the background.
Wow. You're not like in a chicken suit. Is that what I'm? The chicken's in the background. All right, perfect. Yeah, and look, send me the link here if we're able to. We'll just put it in the description and such as well.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that like if someone's only listening and they're walking by and they're just trying to like go through the day, they know how to like to make that.
They're
happen.
welcome. Please, yeah. I'm always happy to connect with new people.
Awesome. And then the last question I'm going to ask you is this. I'm not curious about like what your current, like what you would say to like your past version. A lot of times people be like, oh, like if you can go back in the past and talk to someone, like talk to yourself, what advice would you give? Not interested in that. I want to give you a chance here. This is actually my gift to you. I call it the time capsule question. If there was a message that you could give to your future self, right, that you're leaving right now in this conversation, so that years later, when you need it, it's been said and you can come back to it. What's the message that your present self would leave for your future self?
I would say like maybe have a bit more faith in yourself and your capacity, and also faith in life. Like the life is bringing you it's everything is turning. I miss the words, but falling into place. Well, everything falls into place. Like if you trust, then it will fall into place. Yeah, you'll meet the right people. Everything will come your way. You just need to be trustworthy. Have trust. Something like that.
Here's the thing. I love asking this question because I'm like, you will get what you need to get from this should the time come, and it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else other, as long as it makes sense to you. That's who this is for. All right. And so like if you go in and you're like, oh yeah, like yeah, that was the message. Like I have trust, I use trust, I do trust, like I do all the things with trust, I'm in it. And now let's go on and take on the next scary thing. Amicie, I truly appreciate you. I'm glad that we are in conversation here. We're going to close this conversation down for today, but I look forward to our ongoing conversations as well as experiences. Like I can't wait for you to meet the other awesome people that are in our world, and we'll go from there, right? And I can't wait for more of them to get to know you.
Okay, thanks for reaching out, Nemo.
We're just getting started. Take 10 seconds to think about your greatest insight from today's conversation. And if you're ready to go and bring this to a deeper, more applicable level for you, come and join us in an upcoming masterclass. Go to outliersedge.com/masterclass to be coached live and to bring your aspirations, your goals, and your challenges and have them handled in real time. This is high flame, high impact, high transformation. Go to outliersedge.com/masterclass and come experience your next level of leadership.